Absolutely idiot proof.
Idiot proof?
Idiot resistant. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're tackling yet another Super Ténéré project. Today we are tackling fork seals. A while back I noticed that the fork seals are weeping just a little bit of oil. Not enough to be really much of a leak, but enough to get some dirt trapped there and just slowly weep oil. We limped along well enough for a while, but we're gonna go ahead and get that taken care of today. So the first thing we did is get the bike up on the center stand. Then we're gonna come and loosen these pinch bolts here a touch. And then we're gonna loosen these caps while the forks are still supported by the other clamps in the triple clamp. The reason you wanna do that is because otherwise you need a special clamp that can hold circular objects, and I don't have one of those. So I'm just gonna leave the tube supported by the main triple clamp, and then we will pull the tire and brakes and all that assembly, pull the forks out, and go from there. So let's get to it. Grab a 6mm Allen key and just loosen up these pinch bolts. Oh goodness, those are tight. Okay, next you need a 24mm wrench. You're just gonna back this off. That's probably enough. I don't think I need to get it all the way loose. Next we're gonna grab some straps and ratchet the front of the bike up to the rafters. If you got a lift or some other way of supporting the bike, that's great. I don't. I'll leave it up to your professional judgment on the best way to lift your bike, but I'm just gonna use some ratchet straps and lash the bike up to the rafters. That should take the weight off the front tire, and then I can get the front wheel and brake assemblies all pulled off. All right, something to note with this. This is a 19mm hex key, which most people don't have. Go get yourself a all-thread connector. It's like a giant nut that's threaded all the way through for connecting threaded rod. Anyway, a 3/4 inch one from Home Depot or Lowe's should fit in this pretty much perfectly, and it's like $1 or $2, instead of having to own a special 19mm hex key. But if you have the hex key, then, well, go ahead and use it. And just fiddle with your wheel. Okay. Alrighty, that's the wheel. As you can see here, it was definitely time for these seals to get replaced. There's some fluid built up on the seal, on the shaft. Definitely some dirt being picked up. Next, we're gonna go ahead and loosen the pinch bolts on the lower part of the triple clamps and pull these fork tubes. Next, we're gonna grab a wrench and back off the preload. And you should be able to feel when it stops, so don't reach it past that. And then I think this is damping. Okay, we'll back that out as well. Next, get your drain pan handy. And if you did this right, you should be able to back this off by just holding it by hand. And this is not under crazy spring pressure. The main spring pressure is down further into the fork. So. Go ahead and drain the fork oil. You may have to cycle it a little bit to get it to come out. All right, so next we need to take the spring off. So there's this little collar here with these holes, and you can technically maybe get this off without having a special tool. But the general advice I keep getting from everybody who's done these kinds of projects is just buy the damn tool. I think this tool was like 25, 30 bucks. So that's a pretty small price to pay for being able to do this job yourself. You're already saving money there, so we're gonna go ahead and slip the collar over. And then these screw into here. They are tapered on the points. So we will just tighten them in roughly evenly. And they should snug down. So I've got a socket extension here. You could use an axle or something else, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And we'll gently torque these down. A little bit further. We've got this to where we can get at this collar here. Go ahead and pull this collar. Pull this rod. And go set those aside somewhere clean. Pull this collar here. And gently let the spring tension off. All right, so you should have a collar and this plastic piece, as well as the spring. Note, these are directional. This tightly coiled in goes on the bottom. Take a small screwdriver, very, very carefully pry this dust seal up. Just be really slow here. You do not want to slip and gouge something. It's infinitely not worth the rush. So now, inside here, there's a little bitty snap ring. Get a screwdriver in here and engage your safety squints. And pop that snap ring out. Okay, once you got the snap ring pulled off, should be able to take this and pop it out. All right, next we're gonna grab all the parts and clean them up, get all the old grime and oil and crud off of them, and get them ready for reassembly. Let's go ahead and start cleaning them. This is the really dirty part. Alrighty, all the parts are cleaned up and ready to go. I've got my pieces arranged in the order that they're gonna go onto the fork tube. So this is our dust seal, that'll go on first. Then we have our snap ring. Now we have the actual oil seal. Next we have our washer, our first bushing, it's the narrow one, and our last bushing. I'm gonna pour just a touch of oil here in the cap. Take your fork bullet and slide it over this. I'm gonna put a little bit of the new fork oil on the bullet. Then we've got our dust seal. That'll go on first. Okay. Slide that down. Next goes the snap ring, followed by the seal here. I'm just going to lubricate the inside of the seal a touch. Okay. Next goes the washer, bushing, and the last bushing. Next, you're going to take a little bit of your fork oil, just lubricate where the bushings sit, just to make sure that they set nicely. Double check everything and slide your assembly together. Next, you're going to want to grab a seal driver that is the correct size for these forks. In this case, it's a 43mm seal driver. They're not too expensive. You can get one from several different brands. Alternatively, you can actually 3D print a seal driver. I haven't actually tried any of them, but I saw some on Thingiverse that looked fairly reasonable. So you might give that a try. Worst case scenario, you're out a little bit of filament. But anyway, let's grab a seal driver and drive that in. I'm gonna double check. I don't know if that's actually the right direction. Alrighty, well, in retrospect, looks like I got these seals on backwards. So now I've got to pull these back apart, and I think I need to order a new seal, maybe a second one if I can't get them off. But yeah, make sure you get your seals on the correct way. I'm gonna run grab some new seals and come back to this. So I'm gonna pull this seal. I'm pretty sure I goobered it up real good. Oh well, lessons learned. Next time I will pay even more attention to how I take things apart. So the inside spring ring part goes up into the body of the fork tube. So the solid flat face goes down towards the outside where the seal driver will hit it. So we'll put that on. Theoretically, the correct direction now. Make sure the snap ring's all in. Cool. This is the absolute slowest way to do this, but.
Better than making a mess all over everything? How many liters do you have to put in? The whole liter?
It's roughly half. 485 centimeters. Cubic centimeters. That's milliliters, right? Milliliters a cc?
Should verify, but I think so. Yeah. Starting to give some resistance. A little resistance, maybe.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm thinking this is potentially hazardous.
No. Guaranteed foolproof.
Foolproof, huh?
Double your bugs back. Literally couldn't go wrong.
No. The MacGyver of motorcycle mechanicking.
Ta-da! Absolutely idiot proof.
Idiot proof?
Idiot resistant. Alright, so it says to let it sit for about 10 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and do that, make sure all the air bubbles come out, and we'll come and set the final oil level. Well, I'm glad I read the instructions because we need to take these parts off. So I put this in here. All right, now we're pulling fluid. As you can see there. So we're going to keep going until we get air. We are pulling air, so that means we are at the desired depth. So now we need to position this nut 12 millimeters from the end of the threads. And then install this. Ooh. Whoops. Almost forgot this cap. Okay. That says to torque it to a specific spec, but I think that's going to be good enough. Okay, so now we thread this in. Okay, there she is. All right, so I got the forks put back together. Overall, they went together pretty smooth. Getting the right tools for the job was definitely worth the cost. All right, let's get these fork legs installed. We'll grab our first tube. Oh boy. So the first thing it says to do is tighten the lower pinch bolts. We've got 168 inch-pounds dialed in, or 14 foot-pounds. And note here, I'm not tightening them past the torque spec. I am going back and forth because when you tighten one up, it loosens up the other one. So you got to double check them. All right, let's go ahead and tighten these cap bolts. These go to 17 foot-pounds. Okay. Be really careful with these. There's not much there to hold on to. So you'll strip them if you even look at them funny. Next, we're going to tighten the upper bolts to 19 foot-pounds. Yeah, 19 foot-pounds is so much for that little hex screw, but I guess it's designed for it, so who am I to judge? Okay, so now we're going to set the preload. Now, stock is 5.5 grooves showing. Okay, 5.5. Now let's set a rebound. So to do that, turn this all the way in. Okay, that's the furthest in click. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're gonna set the dampening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and let's get the other side. 4, 5, 6. All right, looks like the previous rider had it clicked in one more step. So we'll see if that makes much of a difference. Alrighty, we got the bike all put back together. Overall, it went pretty smoothly. We ended up changing the tires while we were at it since we had everything apart anyway, and those were definitely needing replaced as well. So Overall, not too bad of a project, and definitely way cheaper than taking it to a shop, especially since right now shops are super busy because it's springtime and everybody's getting their bikes going. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider giving it a thumbs up and maybe subscribing. We've got a lot of cool content coming, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time. Bye.